All right. So April 22nd, today. And this is Surfside Beach. Today, this morning, we had a Earth Day. We had a celebration, and the celebration was pretty much the Spiritist Center, the group, getting together and cleaning about 3 miles, covering 3 miles. Well, we didn't, I guess we got close to 2.5 miles because it was really hot. But it was a beautiful day, gorgeous day, and lots of people over there. The nice thing is it was not as bad as past years, but the downside was I found so many syringes, that's how you call those. Oh my. And that really, oh gosh, I cannot, all the time I was collecting those stuff and I was praying, oh Lord, please, 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 help support those folks, because this is not a nice way to enjoy the beach, right? I mean, anyway, it was a beautiful day. Just wanted to show you guys, especially, I thought about you, Annie. Because of the temperature in Canada, I do not know how cold it is over there, but I swear I thought about you, and if I could, I would transport you to that beach.
Where are you in Canada, Annie?
I'm in Calgary.
Yeah.
It looks beautiful. And how far was this from your house?
40 minutes, 45 minutes.
And it's right, that's the ocean there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, so nice. So nice.
Yeah. So
I wish I was transported there too.
One day when I get this ability, when I become a physical medium, I will materialize you in there.
Yeah,
all
Dr.
right.
Paulo Frutuoso, he calls materializations and teletransportation of spirits.
Yes.
She will beam her up.
That's it.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, so as usual, we start with our prayer. So let's calm down our thoughts, relax our body, elevate our thoughts, and start with our prayer today. Dear Brother Jesus, as we gather here today to learn from the Spirit teachings, from your loving message, and from each other life experience, we ask you, please, to come besides us now, lead us on our study today, on the days ahead of us, and through the time when our mind cannot cope. Help us to find peace and calming inner thoughts, especially today. 523 years ago, the Portuguese people saw the Brazilian shores for the first time. So I ask you, God, please, to protect that land, to protect that people, and may the Brazilians discover themselves first and discover also the power, the light, and the peace on your teachings, on your word. You hold us safe, Jesus, and please do the same for this group, for our mentors here with us today, for our family members, our houses, our relatives, and all of those crossing our mind right now, as well as all of those in need. And so be it. So guys, exactly 523 years ago, on the April 22nd, the Portuguese people, they were landing on Brazilian shores for the first time. And okay, so this is what I would like to show you. This is what the meal that we prepared like 2 weeks ago, and I would like to talk about this today again, because the it's not a funny thing. It is actually a very nice thing. The group doing this, we have all kind of beliefs. We have Baptists, we have Spiritists, we have all kind of people, and we don't care. We just get together and we do this, and as we do, it's so obvious how happy we are, in the process of preparing everything and putting all the things together. So, and it is exactly how this chief white feather sitting bull said one day, "I'm not interested in what you said your religion is. I'm only interested in what compassion you reveal to those in pain, and above all, what service you render." So really, it's not a matter of, what you believe, but what you can do. And like the Dalai Lama said, it's all about love, right? And not by coincidence, in the gospel, according to Spiritism from Allan Kardec, the Spirit of Truth said, "My children," within this sentence, "without charity, there's no salvation, is enclosed the destiny of mankind, both on earth and in heaven." So I hope this kind of initiative is happening everywhere. It's just a little bitty tiny contribution, but I swear it makes us so happy. I mean, I was as happy as I can be when we were working on it. Announcement. If you remember this encounter from November 2022, I want to say that we are in preparation for the second group meeting, and this time in Brazil, in Minas Gerais. The city is Pedro Leopoldo, where Chico Xavier was born. And so it's going to be September the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10. Being 10 the half day, so 10, I guess, I know for sure, is a Sunday, so we all can take our flights, the one flying. And I'm just showing where Pedro Leopoldo is, this tiny bitty small city is. This is Minas Gerais. Minas Gerais is a federal state in Brazil, is located right there, kind of a south east. And Pedro Leopoldo is somewhere in the middle as well. So it's a small city, but not as, so it's not a jungle. It's not even close to a jungle. It's just a small city. And over here, okay, so the program, we are thinking about having some lectures. We are thinking about inviting some people to talk to us, those people who actually met and talked and worked with Chico Xavier. And again, there will hold some mediumship practices, and there will be some sightseeing as well, so we can check on some places that Chico used to live and he used to visit or stay when he was writing some of the books. So, for example, I have here pictures of the house he used to live, very humble house. And but evidently today they did some improvement, some renovation. So the house today is actually a museum, so is open for people to go there and visit. So this is, for example, this is his Chico's room, his bedroom. In the past, there used to be a single bed. I guess the other bed was for his son when he was older. I don't know, Olivia, Luis, later they can say better. But the nice thing is, on the side, they did this. They opened this area. It's like a anyway, like a stadium or something. It's very small. It's not too big, but over here, you know, there are meetings, presentations, and if we were lucky, we might have some lecture being held over there. So prepare you guys. There will be more news about this. We are expecting, you know, a group, not a large group, maybe 15 people. And evidently, Luis, Livia, they will be there, Leda, Maria, everybody. And as well as some of the invited people that we know it's going to contribute a lot. It's going to give us a lot of knowledge, not only from the Spiritism in Brazil, but also from Chico Xavier's life and his work and his mediumship. Leda or Luis, you guys want to say anything? Livia? We are so excited about this. I was dying to tell this.
Yeah. Such a good idea, and it's about 30 minutes from our home, Leopoldo, because it's in the metropolitan area of this big city called Belo Horizonte, where we live, right? And of course, it's going to be lovely to host you all here. We have lots to talk, right? Without this limitation of 1 hour and 15 minutes a week. So prepare, right, your ears, your throat for us to talk about. If you can come, of course, come over. It's going to be lovely. And many things we can, maybe we'll try to optimize the time, make things easier, like food and lodging and things like that.
Yeah.
As best as we can for us to take advantage of the time minute by minute, because we have lots to exchange and experience. So it's going to be fun.
Yeah, the idea, I forgot about say this, I have to say before I forgot, Leda, is the idea is to have everybody in the same place. If not in the same place, it's going to be very close. We are thinking about this small, it's not a farm, but it's like a
weekend house, something like this, right?
Yeah, vacation house that is near the city. It's not actually in the city, but in the vicinity. So we think that places like this, you know, closer to nature, then it's going to be best for the mediumship meetings at night. It's not far from the city, it's not far from the places that we'll be visiting, but for sure we want everybody to be together, and also it's going to facilitate a lot. So all the food and, you know, breakfast, dinner, lunch will be provided, so we don't have to worry about this. And yeah, so we don't have to worry about who is in the hotel, things like this. So logistic wise, we want everybody to be together and being simple. We are thinking about also getting a driver with a big truck or SUV to drive us all if possible. So you don't have to worry about driving over there, or, you know, not knowing exactly where you were driving to. So yeah, so it's gonna be, I'm very much looking forward. Please, Leda.
I'd just like to say that I'm very excited also to meet you all in person, right? Because we already love you so much. And we'll be together for 3 days, right? And we can study together and have the mediumistic practice together. And I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
I hope you like Brazil. It's not a dangerous place, as you see. It's a very quiet town where you'll be staying. And we'll be with you all the time, so there's nothing you need to worry about.
Yeah. Please, Annie. Now I can see your hand.
Sorry. Is there a direct flight from Houston to Brazil? And where do you fly into?
I am flying from Houston to Belo Horizonte. Now, I don't, well, depend on the company. There used to be a direct flight to Belo Horizonte in Minas Gerais. That's the main city of Minas Gerais. But I don't think that flight is there anymore. So we go to São Paulo. Last
Okay.
time that I've been there, I had to go to São Paulo, and then I took another flight. So if you want, we can get together in Houston, and then I can go with you. So it's gonna be very easy. I mean, it's not really complicated. It's easy. It's just, you know.
If you fly Copa Airlines, you might come directly here, I think.
Yeah, the problem is, well, yeah, Copa sometimes they stop by Mexico City or Panama.
They stop in
Panama.
I think it
Yeah.
comes directly here,
Yeah.
but it stops in Panama.
Yeah. So that will be the idea, is for this driver to wait for everybody at the airport. So that guy will pick us up at the airport and drive us, you know, so you don't have to worry about transportation and, you know, logistics, how to get to the places we are going to. We don't want you guys to worry about that, because the reality is, not everybody in Brazil speaks English, so so we don't want you guys to feel like lost and not knowing to speak the local language, not knowing how to read, you know, Portuguese. But yeah, so there will be more to come, but we are very excited about that meeting. Okay, so I just have over here as well. This is the other event that's going to take place in October 9th to 13th at Barlo in Netherlands, Walking with the Unseen. And if you want to know any other information, if you have any questions, take note of this email, walkingwittheunseen@gmail.com, and then they will send you the program and everything else, all the information in this. So you can take a flight to Amsterdam, and, you know, and then they say it's easy to go to Barlo, to take a transportation all the way to Barlo. And over here, I'm putting information they sent to me for lodging, and this price, it does include everything, all the meals, I guess. I believe. Maria, you have your hand
Yes.
raised.
We are also inviting Debbie's husband, who was with us at the last meeting.
Jose, yeah, she's talking about the
Yes,
meeting in
Jose.
Brazil. Jose is very welcome, Debbie, please.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jose.
He would love to come, I'm sure.
Yay! Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so last time we were studying law of equality, question 816, trials of wealth and poverty. And the question was, while rich people have more temptation to do evil, do they also have more means of doing good? The answer, that is precisely what they do not always do. They often become selfish, proud, and greedy. Their wants increase with their fortunes, and they never think they have enough even for themselves. So there is some comments from Kardec: elevation in this world and authority over our fellow beings are trials that are just as difficult as those of misfortune are. The richer and the more powerful we are, the more obligations we have to fulfill, and the greater our means of doing both good and evil. God tries poor people by submission, and the rich by the use they make of their wealth and power. Oh, God tries poor people by submission, and the rich by the use they make of their wealth and power. Wealth and power breed all the passions that binds us to matter and keep us from reaching spiritual perfection. This is why Jesus said, it is easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for one who is rich to enter the kingdom of God. Evidently, this is a metaphor and lots of, okay, so let me bring the next question then. Now we are moving from triumphs of wealth and poverty to equality rights for men and women. Here we go. And so the first question is A17. Come on, A17. Why is not, okay, there you go. A17, are men and women equals in God's eyes, and do they have the same rights? Okay, so why did he have to ask this question? Evidently, the answer has God not given them both the knowledge of good and evil and the ability to advance? Okay, so straightforward. Any comment? If not, we just keep on going. 8:18. Oh, as a matter of fact, at that point, let me go back to this. Has God not given them both knowledge of good and evil and the ability to advance? And remember, at this time, women, they didn't vote, at least not in Brazil. Right? And here, the spirits that were saying we have both of us, we have same knowledge, but anyway. 8:18, where does the moral inferiority of women in some countries originate? Answer, in the cruel and unjust authority that man has seized over them. This is a result of social institutions and the abuse exercise of strength over weakness among morally inferior men. Might makes right. Maria?
It's very important to remember that everybody, our spirits, needs to do experiences with a man and with a woman. We have to know and to take knowledges that is different for one and for another. And the spirits that believe that we will stay only with a man or only with a woman, they are wrong, because we need to be both, to grow up with quality. All right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a very good point. So she's talking about reincarnation and the plan as we reincarnate, that we do not say like, this time I am a woman, but next time I could be a man, and then I'll be switching. And Maria is making a very good comment, saying that this is really necessary. So we build up this knowledge of equality. So we become more balanced and just, right? Leda, please. Thank you, Maria. Very nice.
I think this subject is very important for us that are women, because spirits have been saying that we are the same, and Jesus Christ, he treated equally men and women, right? He
Mhm.
talked to the Samaritan, and
Exactly.
he always took good care of women, and to Mary Magdalene.
Mhm.
But until today, in many places, women are underestimated, right? And
Mhm.
their opinion sometimes they don't have the same value as men, and uh, we live under a lot of prejudice. So
Mhm.
understanding that the spirit is the same makes us realize that this is a prejudice that has no reason, no
No
reason to
basis.
be at all, because we can be in a different body the next reincarnation. So
Mhm.
we should just learn from our gender as much as we can and be ready to transform into the other gender if God asks us to in the next life, right?
Yes. You brought up a good point, Leda. I think if again, it is that story. It's so important that we know each other, but more than anything, we know who we are, at least a little bit. I remember sometimes this happened to me. Is this spontaneous? I do not provoke. It's not something that I look for. But there have been some cases, some occasions when I spontaneously had memories coming to my mind. And I remember this day I was taking shower, and all of a sudden the bathroom, where I was, it disappeared, and all that I could see was this giant jungle in front of me, all green, and I was running. I was running desperately, and as I was running, I had the same vision as if I was that person. And at some point I could see something, passing by my eyes. I could see it was like a spear. And then later I saw the arm holding that spear, and it was a dark skin color. And and finally I saw the body, the heavy body of a man running. And that person was running away from somebody else. And so anyway, I got to this place, and it was very high hill. There was nowhere for me to go. And then when I tried to look back, that person just pushed me up. Well, that explained to me a lot of things. One was the I was so scared of, being in the high places. But also it did explain to me, because that was not the only one. It was one of the memories that I had when I was a man. And that explained to me sometimes when people say that I have male energy, or I do not know how to say so. But anyway, I'm a girl this time, and I love being a girl. I love being a mother, and it is such a joy being a mother. But sometimes I do understand very well, and in my work environment, for example, which is 99.9% men, then I understand them so very well, and we go along very well. But the thing is I guess the point is, the day that I was hired in my second company, which is the same company that I'm still working. And I had this guy telling me that my salary could not be what I was asking, because then, this was back in Brazil, then I would be, I would have a higher salary than the other engineer that was a male. I heard that, guys, and I had to stay, okay, so, but, you know, I was held back because I could not have a higher salary than a man. So, regardless, I made my way. I understood. I didn't get angry. I didn't, I didn't run away from that. Instead, I made my way. And I am in the company. That person is not. Luis, please.
Well, this is subject that demands a lot of study. And I once studied in kind of some depth this kind of problem, what you call the transsexuality of reincarnation. It's so interesting because many men
This
from the
is very
past
nice, yeah.
that were very abusive of women, they demand to be born in women's bodies. But exactly because of this, they are going to revolutionize women's position, because they are going to be frustrated and rebellious women. I've talked to many women when I'm in my research about that, many women that they dared being women, okay? They didn't like being women. They didn't like the way they behave as women. And these people were the people who are going to help women to get a better position in society. So how wisdom of life works, right? Because a woman that has been a woman for about 8 reincarnations, it's normal. Being a woman is such a pleasure, a joy. But for a woman that has never been a woman, and suddenly a man is in a position of a woman, well, he's gonna know, I have to change this thing, right? I have to
Yeah.
change this thing. I remember once a woman, I was in a spirit center with my friends. It was a group of spiritism, but the group was very scientifically oriented. And okay, just by chance, everybody was a man. And suddenly, after the lecture we gave in the spirit center, there came a woman and said with a very thick voice, very grave voice, said, "You need a woman in your group." I said, "Oh, yes, a woman we do," right? But not her, because she was very, in a man style. She came very energetic. So you need a woman in your group. There's no woman. Okay, yes, I agree with you. So, because these are the people who came, is what we call transsexuality, which has to do with homosexuality too, right? We need to be very understanding of the situation. It's nature happening to balance the situations, because a typical woman from the past, maybe she, okay, I love being a woman. I love being like this. And the changes will take longer. But if you do the opposite, for example, once I was in a club, in a recreation club here in Brazil, and I took a picture. I don't know if I still have this picture. I think all of the men were playing with their children in the swimming pool. And all of the women were around the tables discussing the Constitution. They were lawyers, doctors, and smoking. And I said, well, there's something wrong in this club. Something different, That's it. This is called transsexuality of reincarnation. It's wonderful for us to understand better, understand people and their difficulties. Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. By the way, Luis, I do have a question for you guys. How it is for well, we can say both ways, but how it is for a medium, for example, a male guy, and getting messages from a spirit that has been a woman for for a long time. Do you believe that that would interfere, or is there any preference between, you know what I mean?
I think I do, right? Well, it will depend on the situation of the medium, how can I say, the profile, the mental profile of the medium, you see, because
Mhm.
homosexuality sometimes is related to some specific aspects that will require for the person, for example, to have been in kind of excess in some areas. For example, if you're very masculine, maybe life will try to balance this thing by making you be born in a woman's body, right? To try to balance your mental situation. This is one of the reasons of homosexuality. Jesus Christ speaks about that. Some people, for example, they can be a medium, or they can be a person who is almost homosexual because there's a mission for them to fulfill here on earth, and for them supposed to leave the thought of getting married a little bit aside for them to accomplish their mission.
Mhm.
And of course, even Jesus Christ talks a little bit about this. But what I think about medium is, I don't know if I understand what you mean, but when you're receiving a message, the man is receiving a message from a woman, right? What the spirits use for them to communicate through us is our mediumistic alphabet, our experience from the past. Of course, many times we've been women, we've been men, and this richness, they will make use of that to transmit, to convey the message as pure as possible.
Mm.
But it won't influence, for example, the sexuality of the medium, right? If the medium has this thing balanced in him or her.
Yeah, I'm asking because, for example, if I think of I'm thinking now some famous books and or mediums, and if they are male, then they were writing books, dictated by a male spirit, or if they're woman is. But that's funny because for women, I can remember books that has been written by a medium, a female medium, but dictated by
Man,
both spirits.
both, yeah.
But for men is more like men and men.
Yes.
Except Chico.
Chico Xavier had a different. Remember, Chico Xavier, once the reporters asked him, because he was so sweet, so soft, and people asked him, "Are you homosexual? Are you gay?" Chico, she said, "I am, but I don't practice." Yeah, because Chico, when I
So
was with
nice.
him, I felt he was like a mother
Yeah.
more than a father. Right?
Yeah, he
Some
was just
spiritists
sweet.
wouldn't like me to say that, but I think that's what I felt. It's
That's what
no.
happened.
Some spirits are no, Chico was man, it was man, but of course,
Yeah, he was sweet.
it was something that was very, very clear. Many people, they thought she was so soft. He has so how can I say, adorable and funny and
Oh, male.
so female, I mean,
Female.
somehow, right? So the wonder, I saw this one reporter asking,
With animals, with dogs.
with animals, with dogs, with this a lovely person,
everyone.
yes.
Yeah.
So he said, "Are you gay?" "Yes, I am, but I don't practice." That's the point.
That's nice. Good answer. Thank you, Luis. Gloria, please.
Yeah, I have a very good friend here who's wonderful with animals and cooking and gardening, and he is a gay man. He's celibate. He's a celibate gay man. He
Mhm.
chooses not to practice his homosexuality, but he's definitely homosexual. So when you were speaking, I had a question come up for me. If spirit comes through and uses the medium's alphabet, is the way you languaged it, is it possible to access the medium's memory banks or alphabet from previous lives, or is it just from this life?
Oh, that's a very good question, because this is the basis of true mediumship. And that's the serious point of mediumship, because they access both. And we call the anemic side, which is the pre-reincarnational bank of memory, and this personymic side, which is this reincarnation's bank of memory. So, for example, the more the medium studies, the more he knows about everything, about from math to history, geography, and things else, the more resources the spirits will have to communicate. So you imagine the degree of knowledge of a spirit like Chico Xavier. He was a very knowledgeable guy. He also have all kinds of scientific and philosophical and religious stuff in his work, right? Because he was a very knowledable guy.
Well, with no education, this life, I mean,
This life had the
yeah.
4 years of school, right?
Mhm.
From the first year to the 4th year of school, and that was all. And he wrote all those
But
books.
all that knowledge was
Exactly
from his
because
bank
they
of
access. And Gloria, that's why for you to access real mediumship, you need to be very ethical. And that's what comes Christianity, the true Christianity. You understand? Because what happens? Suppose we are in a group, and suppose I killed you some reincarnations ago. It's not impossible that you start being scared of me. So we usually say that a very good group, mediumistic group, that doesn't exercise forgiveness, it's a problem.
Yep.
Yeah, because some feelings will come out to be solved. We usually say that the group that starts getting together, it's important for you if you want to set up a group there. I think once Annie said that she wants to set up a group there, to begin by this ethical side, which because as you develop your capacities, many feelings come from the past, because they will use these feelings, but for them to use these feelings, that's why the home circles, as people usually say in England, they look so much for home circles, because sometimes our people that have a natural affinity, have not big problems from the past. They get together and the phenomenon happen more easily, because just like the group Skoll, for example, those two couples, maybe they have an affinity that not many problems to solve from the past, right? So it's more automatic. The church of, I think it's, I don't know how to say in English, Antioquia. I think it's Antioquia. Is it Antioquia? The church of Antioch, one of the churches founded by the Apostle Paul. Yes.
Antioch? Is that what you're saying? Antioch?
Antioch.
Antioch. Yes. The Spirit Emmanuel said lots of phenomena happened there because of the affinity and the fraternity level people had reached in that church, right? So because of in mediumship, we use this, spirits make use a lot of our older experience. For example, many people, I met a guy in the countryside of my state, in a range. The guy was a very humble guy. He was illiterate, but he was speaking a language like German, right? He had been a German somewhere, somehow in the past, right? And the spirits were using him to speak about knowledgeable things, wise things. But here in this present reincarnation was a very humble, very illiterate guy. You understand? The spirits were using his anemic side, as we say in Portuguese.
Yep. Thank you, Luis. Maria, you have your
Yes, a little comment, because I put in the chat a part of the book Nosso Lar. I don't know the name in English. Do you know?
Astro City?
Astro City.
All right. Where the spirit compare the family with a right angle. It It's a very beautiful and important form that we understand what each one of us need to do in our families.
Yeah. Thank you, Maria. Thank you. Any?
I have a couple of things. The first thing I just wanted to say, maybe Chico was so pure that it didn't matter whether he was a man or a woman, because he was light, and he just wasn't even a man or a woman, because he was so light, like just, and I don't know him, but that's just kind of what I thought of when you were talking about that. And then I was also thinking, maybe the reason that some people are transsexual or homosexual or those things is maybe their previous lives are running into the life that they have now, and maybe it's mixing them up, or I don't know. But I also have a question, and I've wanted to ask this for forever. Several months ago, we were all together one Saturday, and I don't remember what the question was or the topic, but I remember saying to everybody, love is love, and that it doesn't matter what you are, that we're still going to all transition. And so after that Saturday, a person from our group sent me an email, and they told me that I was wrong, and that absolutely was not true. And people that were like the transgender or homosexual, whatever, they were not going to transition and be where other people are on the other side. And I just wondered if anybody has a comment about that. I never said anything back to the person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That makes me just so angry. How do they know about other people's lives?
Yes.
And when they talk like that, you know how limited and narrow they are?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a comment on this. Look, the knowledge of Jesus Christ and the Spiritism, that it's higher ethics, makes us to understand that we need to love each other. What political position do you have? Doesn't matter. What religion do you have? Doesn't matter. Sexuality option doesn't matter. It matters that we may love and have to begin loving each other, understanding each other. Jesus Christ said, my disciple will be known by loving each other very much. And not by this or by that, by this rule. Okay, of course, we'll be finding, with the knowledge of spirituality, we'll be finding what kind of procedures can be not so good for us, and what kind of procedures can be good for us. As you said, that Chico Xavier was so pure, right? That maybe he didn't need. And once they asked him, Chico, what about your sexuality? And he said, well, from my waist down, I feel just a kind of void, he said. It's kind of hard because, look, sexuality, art, and mediumship comes from a part of the brain related to sexuality. And it's very true. That's why some saints from the past, they didn't want to deal with sexuality because they could lose spiritual power. I'll give you an example. Emmanuel, when according to Chico Xavier, he had been a priest, a famous priest that founded one of the founders of the city of São Paulo in Brazil. It was the priest Manuel da Nóbrega. And I was reading a book written in 1540, yes, by the letters of Manuel da Nóbrega, to research if there was some connection with Emmanuel, and there is a lot of connection with Emmanuel. And he was here with a very, very holy personality in Brazil called Padre Anchieta, priest Anchieta, who is now canonized by the Catholic Church.
Mhm.
And they were helping the Indians, the native Brazilians, become more peaceful with the people of Rio de Janeiro. And after they stayed with the Indians for so long, right, the Indians offer as a present women to them for them to have sex with. Manuel da Nóbrega, we have know the Manuel, came to Anchieta, and Anchieta was a very young guy. He said, Anchieta, but do whatever you please, but remember, you can heal with your hands. After that, maybe you lose this capacity. And some people do this. Once they, some people have this conscience of that. For example, Lady Gaga, once they interviewed her, are you a promiscuous person? She said, no, I cannot. She said, I cannot be. My creativity will be lost if I do that. Do you understand? It's a technical thing. It's not a thing of moral or religion. It's a technical. What do you want? What do you want from life? You want to have children, you want to do this, you want to do that. What are you going to do with your energy? Because sexual energy is a very powerful energy. It can materialize a body, right? For 70, 90, 100 years. So it's a very powerful energy. So that's this kind of morality is just for us to understand, but it's not for us to condemn each other. It's not for us to do anything like this. So, and I think you should rest assured that this way of condemnation is from the past, right?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ was surrounded by all kinds of people, and he only had some finger pointed at the religious people of his time, the Pharisees, the Sadducees. It's all the time. He was surrounded by people with lots of problems, right? But he welcomed everybody just to make them happier, to follow other pathways, right? But that's
As a matter of fact, Luis, there is a story about Chico Xavier because I followed this lady who was very familiar about his life and his work. And one day she made a comment about Chico. He was preparing his meeting, his group meeting, and this lady, she was not really 100%, balanced. So she came in and she said out loud that she fell in love with Chico, and she was waiting for Chico for them to marry and live a life together. And day after day, she was going there, and he was preparing his meeting, and she was going there and saying out loud that she was in love with Chico, and she was just waiting for him to, to finish with all of that and so they could get married and live a life together. So one day, and evidently the folks out there, helping Chico, they were always addressing the woman. And one day Chico said, no, don't do that. Just allow her to come to me. And then she explained to her, she explained to him, what she wanted, etc., etc. And Chico said, look, this time I have a commitment. I cannot, you are a wonderful woman, but I cannot engage with you or anybody because I have a work to do. If I don't do the work that I have to do, if I not fulfill my commitments, who's going to do it? So I do not have the time, unfortunately. I do not have the time to dedicate myself for a family life. However, I do have lots of children depending on me because Chico was then very engaged with work for, poor children or orphanage, those kind of things. And he said, I need to do that. I do not have time for a family life. So perhaps, he said, next time, another lifetime, but not this lifetime. So he put in a way that she could understand and be satisfied with that answer, So he was very.
Remember, and I see saying that he wanted to have many children, to be a mother. I remember him saying, and once I was in the kitchen with his sister, she was older then, and she told me a story. She said that when she was making the white gown for their sister to get married, she kept looking and said, oh, I envy you so much. I envy her. How jealous I am. So it was his desire, but he said, no, this is my commitment. I need to do this first, right?
Yep. Thank you, Luis. Debbie, please.
Well, I think that the reason that, women have been inferior, it's just this human thing we have of there's not enough for everybody. So everybody has to do what they can to be on top. And so you just look at another group, and if you keep that one down, you feel like then you are better off. And I mean, it's the same with all kinds of groups of people, that I think that's what's happening.
Very nice point. Yes, I agree with you. Yeah, it's a matter of to prove all the time who is the best, right? Who is in the command.
Well, and you get more stuff, like you get more goods, you get more of everything. That's the whole idea behind it. And I always figured that I always felt like I could identify more with men. So I always feel like I was probably had past lives like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then there was something else I'm going to put in the chat. I wrote, I just wanted my sister-in-law to be on the irradiation list, because so I'm going to send that now.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I just wanted to tell you all that.
Yeah, please
Thank
do
you.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
I do have also I know the folks in Brazil, they do have their meetings, their irradiation meetings, but I do have also over here every Monday, Thursday and Fridays, we get together and we do irradiation prayers. So if you happen to have the names, just put in the chat.
I put it in there, put her name in there, and she's Monday, she's having surgery for this cancer they just found. And it's the same cancer both her parents died of. So I'm just so concerned about her.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Debbie. Oh, Gloria.
I wanted to respond to what Annie said. This has been 30 years ago. I was working at LSU and I had a student worker, a very nice young man. And I was out for a meeting or something. And he called me. I'm trying to remember. I think I went home for lunch and he called me and and he was frantic and he wanted to know if he could talk to me. And I said, sure, I'm at home, and I gave him the address and I said to come there. And I guess he was in his early 20s at the time. And what he told me was that his dad was a Baptist minister and he had realized and was admitting that he was gay and that he was going to be disowned and he was going to kill himself. And if I remember correctly, because it's been a long time ago, it was in my kitchen and I didn't go back to work. I sat there and talked with him. And this has happened to me before where something came out of my mouth and I don't know who said it. It was downloaded. And at the time he was sobbing because he was suicidal. And what came out of my mouth was, any form of love is better than any form of hate.
Mhm.
And he was talking, and when it came out of my mouth, I was sitting there like, who just said that? Where did that? You know, just, and he calmed down, and I've stayed in touch with him all these decades, and he's a marvelous young man. He rescues dogs. He works at a hospital. And the only thing I asked of him that day was, I said, because it was Louisiana and there's New Orleans and everything, I said, don't prostitute yourself, honor yourself in your homosexuality. And he has. He's just been an extraordinary, amazing. Well, he's not young anymore, but he's a wonderful man. Oh, so I
Very
wanted.
well said and very well done. I think you saved a life in all the way. You saved
Yep.
him from suicide and from being promiscuous and going down to the layer of prostitution and things like that, which would be not
He
good at all.
was so lost, and his dad did disown him, but the rest of the family embraced him. So his
Awesome.
mother and his
Yeah.
siblings, he's very, very close to them to this day, and he shares pictures with me, and they're very proud of him. And it's a beautiful family, but the father just couldn't get past his Southern Baptist bent. The other thing I had to say, because you made me laugh, Annie, and not Annie, but Anna. I remember I was the business administrator in the College of Engineering at Purdue University.
Mhm.
And my supervisor called me in, and at the time I was working in the School of Electrical Engineering, and I'd been there 6 months. And you know how they do a review after 6 months? And I was the only woman. And he called me in, his name was Jim. And he called me in and he said, "Oh, you're doing a great job. You're fantastic." He said, "But you got to bring it scaring the hell out of the men." So when you said that, I was thinking, yeah, I must have been a man in the previous life. And I'm here and I'm not taking any guff off anybody. It makes sense now. Thank you.
As I understand it, we have been all things in previous lives. So we have been experiencing.
Yep.
So we have been kings and queens and beggars and paupers and murderers and thieves and priests and nice people and bad people.
We have been everything, and
We've been experiencing.
yeah, everything. So if you doubt for a moment, for example, when we talk about evolution, for example, we have been every single thing on creation. So mineral, take the mineral kingdom, for example. Do you realize that we have minerals in our body, that some glands, they have actually crystals in there? Or I don't know, pick an animal, a tiger. Well, we do have canines.
I'm still an amoeba.
So men and women, it's just yeah. Anyway, that's funny.
That's why we shouldn't hate. We should just love.
Love, exactly. Yeah, that's all that it is. Okay, so the next question is 819. Why women are physically weaker than men are? Guys, this is 19th century, okay? So why women are physically weaker than men are? So the answer, so she may be assigned special functions. Men are built for rough work as they are stronger, while women are built for lighter work. Both may help each other through the trials of a bitter life. Well, this was in the past, right? Today, I mean, I have seen some husbands in the bad shape because they were spanked by their wives anyway. So
Yes, but I think that I don't hold with today's talk about nothing called gender. Everybody is, yeah.
yeah,
Because there is a difference. I said I have 6 brothers. I am different to them.
For about an hour.
I don't look like them. So,
yeah,
but the thing is that men, they have a different muscle structure.
yeah,
So they can do different.
yeah,
Men don't bear children, women do.
yeah.
And so I can't go along with the present you do it, because this is not the way you are built. Things happen, yes, and you don't criticize or hate or things happen, and
Yeah.
we incorporate those who are different. But this is a thing.
And talking about the answer, when they say, so she may be assigned special functions. Do you realize that a female brain is not exactly the same as a male brain? And the reason why is because we can cope with all the pain from labor. So there is a very good reason why the female body can endure this much pain. It is because of all the neurological, connections and all the nerves, etc., etc. It is not exactly the same as the male, and for a reason. We actually can endure. We do not feel the same pain at the same level as men.
Perhaps Livia can comment.
Yeah. Luis, you have, or
Yeah,
Livia,
I'd like
maybe.
to say a little bit about it. Yeah, maybe the pain is not because of the brain, but because of the hormones we have and women have when the labor, etc. But the brain changes when she gets some baby. That's now the neurological researchers discover that the brain of the woman changes when she has a baby, and she connects more with the baby. That's why she knows when he's in pain, when he's in danger or something like that. But not because it's different from the man, because it really changes when she gets, yeah, when she has a baby. I got, because the pain is more because of the hormones. I don't know.
Hormones?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a doctor. All that I know is that, they're saying that we do not feel the same level of pain, and there is a physical reason for that.
Yeah, and even not in the labor, woman feels the limit of the pain is different, usually
Yes.
from man to woman, but not usually like that, but not often or so frequently as they say. But sometimes men it's more, has more level of pain than woman. It's individual, yeah. And we are saying about the difference between men and women. There is a building being built by the side of our where we live, and we keep seeing the men working, and Luis used to say it's difficult for a woman to do something like that, and I admit that because it needs a lot of strength. Of course, there's women that sometimes do something like that, but it's more properly for men.
Yeah, heavy lifting, like Hyacinth was saying, is for a body, male body, not for,
yeah.
we do not have the muscles.
I'd like to go back a little bit on what Hyacinth said, because it's so important. He said about we've been through so many experiences, different kinds of reincarnation. And in my personal interpretation of that passage where Jesus Christ tells a parable about a man who owned a lot of money, 10,000 what? Let me remember.
You are on mute, please. We cannot hear you.
I was talking about that parable when Jesus Christ said that was a man that was owing 10,000 talents. One talent, according to some researchers, would be today $8,000. So it was an unimaginable kind of debt he had. This is our story, because imagine how many mistakes we've been making for the last 1,000 years. So if we don't if we don't learn how to forgive, we will suffer a lot yet, still suffer a lot. Forgiveness washes away sins, washes away mistakes from the past. And while we don't learn this, we just be all going on suffering and suffering and suffering because we had a lot of that. And when suppose you were born in a good family, everything's okay, and you try and punish someone with your thought, with your feelings, you are punishing yourself, because all the guilt that you have stored in your soul comes against you. And that's why, again, Jesus Christ said, with the measure you measure others, with that measure, you will be measured.
Yeah.
So I know it's not easy to become a forgiving person, but we need this desperately, right? That's why anything, just like Annie said, anything that really, it's falsely related to real religion, and it's condemning, it's punishing others, it's fake, because we have lots of mistakes to be washed away. This is very important.
Very well said. Yeah, very nice point. All right, folks. So 4:15 here in Houston. I think we should call for today. But anyway, so I hope I can meet you all next week. And I hope you have a wonderful week as well.
Yes, thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
bye-bye.
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 Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.